Testimony, which will be given by Patrick Erlandson from Los Angeles, who will share about the Fatherhood Project.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. God, I was so moved by the readings this morning because so much of my work has been really centered around the prodigal son story and that the heart of a father wanting his children to come home. I want to give a little bit of a background. I started working with the United Nations with the Refugee Agency when they opened an office here in Los Angeles area. And during my time working with UNHCR, I learned about what was happening with organ harvesting of children in Africa, in East Africa, where children were escaping from Darfur and from South Sudan, from Somalia and Ethiopia, and trying to cross Egypt so they could get to Israel, where they could be taken in and care and get jobs and be cared for. And as they crossed Egypt, there was a group of Bedouins that would invite them in and, welcome them, feed them, make them feel relaxed and comfortable, while they sent for a doctor from Cairo that would come down and drug the children and then cut out their organs and bury them in the desert. And when I heard that story, something totally cracked in my heart. And it was such a betrayal of a child's trust, like to win the trust of a child and then kill them and take their organs because they could make so much money selling organs on the black market. And so that started me researching about human trafficking and realizing just how prevalent the exploitation of vulnerable people is in the United States and around the world. So I started working with the Long Beach Human Trafficking Task Force, which was a task force near where I lived in Los Angeles, and learning so much about what was happening with the exploitation of human beings. And so during years, I started learning everything connecting to people who are involved in this real evil exploitation of vulnerable and children and adults, but very vulnerable people, preying on them. And so around 2018, I got two inspirations from God. The two of the areas that needed to be dealt with were culture, that we have a culture that's basically feeding a sense of entitlement to seek my own gratification, even at the expense of another person. So I started a film and art festival in order to bring the art world together, to bring a message of dealing with this sense of entitlement. How do we undermine that sense of entitlement to where we really live for the sake of each other? And the other thing was I started FatherCon, which is really highlighting the significance of the father and the role of the father in the family and in society and in culture. And so there were three reasons for FatherCon. It was not just to imitate Comic-Con, but the three areas of con. So the first is that we're being conned into believing that I'm going to be happier by having kind of a free sex and indulging my appetites, my fallen appetites. So one is the con, we're being lied to, and that's kind of on an individual level. Each person, we're being conned into believing that we can be happy by taking advantage of the vulnerability or the weakness of another person. And especially kind of within human trafficking is really the prostitution of human beings, and especially of children. And then the second con is conversation, that we really need to go to kind of a family level, on a kind of a husband and wife level, where we really need to meet heart to heart and soul to soul in order to become the couple that can actually raise children and influence community. And then the third was conference, and so we have kind of an annual conference where we kind of gather together and really become a community that cares about each other, that is the antidote to this exploitation of other human beings. So I started in 2018, we started having an annual conference, and it started very small. And then we just had, in February 11th, we just had our fourth FatherCon. And this was really just such a powerful event, because what we're really trying to do is highlight the role of the father and the significance that we have in our families and in our culture and our society. We now have like such a high divorce rate. We have We have 19 million children in America that are living without a father, without a parent, without a male parent, that are just extremely vulnerable to what society has to offer, and the pull of whatever materialistic and self-centered forces exist in the world. So I was so moved by the reading this morning of The Prodigal Son, because that's really what's kind of inspired me so much in founding FatherCon, is that heart of the Father to welcome his children back again, that we've been lied to. A con is a lie where you're deceiving someone to make them believe something is true that isn't true. And we've come to believe that if I just indulge myself, if I just take care of myself, my needs or my wants, that's okay. And it's not okay. And it leads us to kind of really a horrible place in our own personal lives and in our world. Human trafficking has become so pervasive. Just the hundreds of thousands of children and people that are being brought into an industry where you're being bought and sold. You're buying and selling human beings to use according to your will and according to your lowest appetites. And this has really been escalated and fed by the pornography industry. When I first attended High Noon did a conference in Las Vegas, and it really shifted my thinking and my prayer, and that's what led to the development of FatherCon as kind of an antidote to this pervasive seeing other human beings as a commodity, where we start seeing human beings as something to be used for my own sexual gratification, for my own pleasure. And it's causing this breakdown of fathers. We have men that have bought this lie that somehow if I satisfy myself, if I go out and pay for sex with someone, if I go out and indulge my lowest animalistic behaviors, that somehow I'm going to be happy. And it's leading to a tremendous amount of disconnect from ourselves, our true selves, our true heart. And it's the ultimate lie. It's the lie of Satan in the Garden of Eden, right? That you're entitled to something. God can't tell you no, you can't have that. You're born, you want it. You should have it. So I started working not overtly as kind of a theological or a religious messaging, but really looking at it from a psychological standpoint. The whole deception, and the creation of trauma, that as we've separated from God, as we've separated from the principle of life, we are traumatized. And each and every human being is living with varying degrees of trauma that have resulted from us living in a world that we're not meant to live in. So it's been really fascinating. So I've been able to develop this organization now. We just had our fourth FatherCon on February 11th. We had 400 people come. We had a really amazing kind of a speaker, was Father Greg Boyle, who's a Catholic Jesuit priest who started Homeboy Industries as a way of bringing gang members out of gangs. And now they're bringing 10,000 gang members out of gangs and putting them in touch with their true selves, their kind of more authentic selves, the person that they really were born by God to be. And it was so inspiring to have him come, and to have so many people come and recognizing the heart of the Father. And for me, that the prodigal son story is so incredibly significant, that if we can connect to that heart of the Father, that heart of God, that wants us, that so much wants to be our parent, wants so much to engage with us and be a part of our lives as we grow and learn, that we can restore that heart in our society. That's so much of what we need today, because we have so much breakdown with so many divorces, so many couples breaking. How do we really get in touch with that true Father's heart? So I work in FatherCon. We're really kind of expanding and growing. We're going to have conferences now across the country, but it's really from this standpoint of really reconnecting to our heart as children of God, and a role of the Father that we play for our children. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about what we're doing, and I really welcome people to kind of connect to FatherCon. It's something that we can bring. It kind of appeals. We can work with a lot of ministers, a lot of pastors that don't connect to ACLC, but they can work on this level. So we start to educate them about the heart of God and start to educate them about the true responsibility of the heart of the Father. And through that, then how do we expand that to the heart of the husband and this parental heart for children and others? So I started this in 2018, and it's really grown to point now where we're going to go across the country to really educate about this kind of father's heart.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick. Wow, what an amazing story. You are doing really incredible mission. I'm so grateful to you. I think God chose you to do this kind of job. It is really very beautiful. I am so inspired by your presentation. 감사합니다, Patrick. God bless you. Thank you.
So much.